Well, we've just entered the 2024. We watched the Rose Bowl game today, 2 o'clock California time, and it's quite a game. Quite a game. It just shows you that within the last few minutes that things changed drastically. There were winners and there were losers, and this brings to mind: are there going to be winners and losers in the United States, the world, China, South Pacific, the Middle East, as they say? And I have to say that right now I'm a winner. Just turned 84, and why the Lord has allowed me to live as long as I could have died many times being in the military for 30 years. Uh, you start to wonder about your mortality when you get to be 65, 70, 72. And a lot of people have problems these days. Uh, Health problems mainly, but we even have people with mental problems. The idea, though, that most of my programs, or my ministry, if you will, is targeted towards Christians or people that think they're Christians. And if you study the scriptures, uh, it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good for the population of the world. It says that God made the earth to be inhabited. And then, as soon as he started to renovate the earth from a former catastrophe, uh, that either mankind themselves started doing away with each other, or this Hasatan, the devil, takes great pride in pointing out to mankind's stupidity in relationship to why is God going to put them over in command of the world, and Satan is and his minions are going to be done away with. You can almost see why he had came up with the idea that no, I don't like that idea. I'm not going to serve these one-time human beings. And in a way, you always want to feel sorry for the devil. But one day he had a thought, just as we have. We have thoughts, and we decide on what are we going to act on those thoughts. Some are good, hopefully, and some are bad. But then we Christians take the Bible and we look through the Bible of what God thinks is good and what He thinks is bad. And in these latter days, as 2024, I mean, almost everybody, be they secular or religious, we assume we're living in the last days. But then Jesus told us, no, you won't even know. I don't even know it myself. With the exact moment, you get a good idea on maybe the year or group of years or what. There's a couple of things that have to occur. They're lined up for us to look at and read, take note. The main idea now, though, is I sit here all day long, retired, and I can watch prepper after prepper after prepper. I can watch minister after minister and pastors that give out information that not all of it is correct. And if the if the blind lead the blind, they fall, both fall in the ditch. Now, when I was younger, and probably to a certain extent now, I'm not an anarchist, but I don't care about other people. I'm antisocial, basically. Or I was until I started reading what Christ had to say about how you should be. He said, I don't, when the two brothers told him uh, that the people that were going to send them on their way were not good, giving them any food on their way to one of the feasts, he said, shall we bring down lightning on them? I don't know why they would have asked that unless they had the ability to. And he said, I didn't come to kill men. I came here to save men, meaning male and female. And we sort of overlooked that. I mean, the more important part of the law that Christ introduced to us was in mercy, judgment and mercy. If you show mercy, you'll receive mercy. I never thought about showing too much mercy, except in combat. Frankly, no, I didn't show any mercy. The human nature is it's them or us. It's him or me. To a certain extent, that's the way the order of life is. Most people don't know what human nature is. And there's probably 120 different schools of psychology and psychoanalysis that tries to understand human nature. It's pretty well taken care of in the first chapter of Genesis. He said that that after he'd gone ahead and formulated the animals, and you'll notice he put the animals where they could survive, where they'd be happy, where they could multiply. In other words, he didn't put the polar bear in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Neither did he put the elephant in the middle of Antarctica. Most animals are where they were put and where they belong, unless they migrate. But even they have flyways. The fish have rivers in the sea. The great whales come up and down the California coast. And he did the same thing with men. You're wondering, well, where'd all the races come from? Well, right on the same chapter, in the same day, the sixth day, God tells you that he created the animals and the whales, the great whales, and the birds, and he put them where they belonged. So there would be a certain amount of balance. And as an afterthought, he said, let us create man in our image and give them dominance over the other animals. I was asked one time by a child, do monkeys love each other? Do dogs love each other? Do animals love each other? Do they have emotions? And they do. They do. Eagles mate for life. Many animals do. They mate. And the same thing with men. Men, he said, he created them male and female and told them to multiply, take charge of the earth. Now these men were Adam, but they weren't Ha-Adam. That was Adam. Adam came along later. Probably they like to refer to him as the eighth day because God finished the work on the seventh day and then he rested. And Adam didn't have an Eve. Eve wasn't even thought of yet. That's one of the main failures of people understanding the Bible. All men are not exactly alike, but as the men developed and they grew and they multiplied, of course they started not necessarily to migrate, but they came in touch with one another, and human nature is to survive. That guy had a berry patch, and my tribe needed it. So we'll go tell them, or we'll take it, and that's the idea. And so that's why human beings are just animals, and that's why we have the same emotion. That's what human nature is: to survive, to multiply, and to prevail. It's right there. And Adam and Eve were not the first people on earth. You'll remember Cain went out of the garden, was sent away in the land of Nod, where he found a wife. Where the hell is he going to find a wife? Oh, he married one of his sisters. No, I don't think so. These were the people that were already there. And he found enough of them that he built a city. And he named it after his son. So, I've given you that information. And you're going to fluff it off, so it doesn't make any difference. But when you're trying to understand people, what you're trying to understand is, nowadays, why do some people act like animals? Because they are. Without the Spirit of God, without this introduction of the Spirit, they can't be anything but animals. And they do hate. I don't know if animals hate, but human beings certainly do. We have a whole plethora of emotions, hate, love, jealousy. These are because these human beings are the higher form of animal life. Obviously, God talked to them. He told them what they could eat, where they could go, and what they were being tasked with. So they understood. So at one time, on that sixth day, all the animals and all the human beings understood the language of God. And that's today, almost every tribe, every group, every culture has some idea of that they were created. Now, they're not quite sure which God, because later on, they see lightning, and they say, oh, that must be the lightning God. That's the storm God. So they set up a different God. They put a picture of him, and that's the way mankind got here. So if you're asking about what's going to happen today, Christ, if you read the Christian Bible, he told us in the 24th chapter of Matthew what's going to happen, because they asked him. I mean, these guys had been with him about 3 years. They'd gone to the feast with him. They've had dinner with him. And he told them, he said, well, some things I don't even know, because I'm in obedience to Father. I do what the Father asked me to do. And on that day, he says, that job is finished. Now I'm on to my next. Now, Christ had to have faith in the Father. He gave himself. Pretty hard way to go, as a matter of fact. But he, through the Spirit of God, had faith in the Father that he would resurrect Christ. Therefore, Christ was the one that could appear there on the day of Pentecost. And Thomas was true. He says, unless I don't believe this stuff, it just can't happen. Unless I put my finger in his wounds. Christ said, come here, Thomas. Take your hand, put it in here. Put it in my side. What was Thomas's answer? My Lord and my God. So we are like Thomas. Don't be afraid. Christ, he knows who you are. If he was the Elohim, if he was the voice, the harmonic of God, by all things were made by him through the Spirit of God, he knows who we are. He knows our limitations. The thing is that we, Christians, we need to know our limitations. If you've got a question about a ministry, about what this minister has to say, go to Christ and say, I've got this question that's been bothering me. What is the truth in regards to this? I'll just give you one here for the rapture. Oh my, this argument goes on ad nauseum. Christ told you when it's going to be. And somebody thinks, oh, it's God wouldn't leave us here on here. Yes, how do you think you're going to be tested? You want to join a football team? They test you. You want to be in special forces? You got to get tested first, you know? There's going to be some drop-offs. We're starting into 2024, which a lot of us didn't think we'd ever make it this far, and a lot of us didn't. A lot of us didn't. You get run over, a car wreck. I can't believe how many friends I've had since high school that actually were killed in a car wreck. You're thinking, how could that? I've been in a lot of turnovers and stuff like. No, I didn't die because I wasn't thrown out of the car and it rolled over on me. I have a good friend that was in a helicopter. Did he die in combat? No. The helicopter pilot came too close to the ground and it flipped him over, and he flipped on Bill, killed him. Anyway, I want my ministry is targeted towards Christians and people that want to be Christians and the other people that think they are Christians. It's pretty tough. It's not that easy to try to do this by yourself. You can't, as a matter of fact. You have to have, or having asked for, the Spirit of God. By the Spirit of God will lead you to Christ, because Christ, he said something pretty dynamic. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody goes to the Father except through me. Did you hear that? Now, don't cry that you haven't heard that. Christ said that, you know. So if you've got a problem, you'd like to be heard by God, you better get over to his Son and ask your Son that I'd like to join up. What should I do next? What did Peter say? He said, repent and be baptized. Didn't say sprinkled. He said be baptized. All right? Most everybody that was baptized had to find the water of some time, and you're dipped below the water, because if that minister didn't pull you up, you'd die. Israel was baptized in the Red Sea. If God had not been with them, taken them through the Red Sea, they would have died, just as the Egyptians died. Anyway, short and sweet. I think my assignment is to at least make one of these short videos. That's my job, I guess, to cover certain areas that people have a hard time with. But basically, don't worry about me. Don't worry about the Lord. Worry about God. Is God going to pick you? Is God saying, fine, did you see my son yet? Have you seen my PR man? I sent my representative. Many people rejected him. Many people still reject him. Why not play it safe? Go ahead and accept Christ and talk to him. Frequently talk to him. Tell him you don't want to get in any. He says in the prayer, he says, lead us not into temptation. No. God's not going to lead you into temptation, but he may allow you to be tempted. So you want to say, if I get tempted, Father, I want to know ahead of time what my response should be. I'm going to end today right here. There's a lot that I have to say, and I've been reading the scriptures, the Christian Bible, but the Old Covenant has much to say that even the rabbis have a hard time with, but they did it to themselves. But anyway, I'm from California, been all over the world almost in the military, and I'm a Californian, and I'm an American in this day and age. And as most of the other prophets, they were praying for Israel constantly. Israel didn't change. Many of them didn't. The first shall be last, the last shall be first. I want you to know the old sop about when you're on the aircraft and those oxygen masks, they fall down, you put one on your first. Put yourself on first because you're not going to be able to help anybody else. So you go to Christ first. You ask him, Lord, show me what to do, what's going to make you happy. He will. He did for me. Okay, I'll see you next time, and I hope you survive. I really do, because if there's going to be a remnant of us left, all the way up to Christ's second coming, because we have to be prepared to give an answer for the hope that lies within. You'll never know who you're going to be giving it to. Okay, shalom. See you next time.